Maria Corina Machado was awarded the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize in October for her courageous decades-long campaign to advance democratic rights in Venezuela. Machado fought against the authoritarian grip of Nicolas Maduro's regime, enduring threats, exile-like conditions and years in hiding after the widely disputed 2024 presidential election. Her daughter accepted the award in Oslo on her behalf. Machado remained underground to avoid arrest. The Norwegian Nobel Committee had praised her as an extraordinary example of civilian courage in Latin America after a push to restore genuine democracy and human rights. Good evening. Tonight, we are taking a deep look at one of the most extraordinary and controversial gestures in modern geopolitics. Why? Well, Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado handed over her Nobel Peace Prize medal to the US President Donald Trump on the 15th of January 2026. Almost immediately after the announcement, Machado dedicated the prize to the Venezuelan people and notably to Donald Trump. She credited him for his unique commitment to their freedom, a nod to his administration's aggressive stance against Maduro. This dedication set the stage for what unfolded in early January 2026. Let's take a look at what she said.
The President of the United States, the medal, the Nobel Peace Prize, and I told him this, listen to this. 200 years ago, General Lafayette gave Simón Bolívar a medal with George Washington face on it. Bolívar since then kept that medal for the rest of his life. Actually, when you see his portraits, you can see the medal there. And it was given by General Lafayette as a sign of the brotherhood between the United States, the people of the United States and the people of Venezuela in their fight for freedom against
In a high-stakes U.S. military operation around 3rd of January, special forces raided Caracas and captured Maduro. He now faces drug trafficking and narco-terrorism charges in New York, where he has pleaded not guilty. Trump directly oversaw the action, framing it as a decisive blow against a regime he called a threat to regional stability. Machado hailed it as historic and a huge step forward towards democratic transition, crediting Trump's principled and decisive action for cracking open the door to real change after years of repression. Last week, Machado went further, publicly expressing her desire to give or share the prize with Trump as an act of national gratitude. During their White House meeting on the 15th of January, she presented him with the actual 18-karat gold Nobel medal, framed and inscribed, presented as a personal symbol of gratitude on behalf of the Venezuelan people in recognition of President Trump's principled and decisive action to secure a free Venezuela. Thanking the Venezuelan opposition leader, Trump posted on Truth Social, "It was my great honor to meet Maria Corina Machado of Venezuela. Today, she is a wonderful woman who has been through so much. Maria presented me with the Nobel Peace Prize for the work I have done. Such a wonderful gesture of mutual respect. Thank you, Maria." The White House released photos of Trump holding the framed medal proudly. Machado justified the symbolic handover with a striking historical analogy. She likened it to the early 19th century when the Marquis de Lafayette, a French hero of the American Revolutionary War and close ally of George Washington, gave a medal bearing Washington's likeness to Simon Bolivar, the liberator who freed Venezuela and much of South America from Spanish rule. And 200 years in history, she said, the people of Bolivar are giving back to the heir of Washington a medal. In this case, a medal of the Nobel Peace Prize as a recognition for his unique commitment with our freedom. She portrayed it as a profound sign of brotherhood between the two nations in their eternal fight against tyranny. Yet the Norwegian Nobel Institute swiftly intervened with a firm reminder of the rules. In a statement issued shortly after Machado's initial comments about sharing the prize, they declared once the Nobel Prize is announced, it can neither be revoked, shared, nor transferred to others. Once the announcement has been made, the decision stands for all time. They later added on social media, a medal can change owners, but the title of a Nobel Peace Prize laureate cannot. The award's prestige and official laureate status remain exclusively with Machado. No legal transfer occurred, only the physical object changed hands as a powerful symbolic gesture. This moment unfolds against a backdrop of intense rivalry for power and U.S. support in a post-Maduro Venezuela. After Maduro's capture, his longtime Vice President Delcy Rodriguez was sworn in as acting president by the Supreme Court. With military backing, Rodriguez condemned the U.S. raid as a barbarity and violation of sovereignty, but quickly pivoted to a more conciliatory tone, offering dialogue releasing high-profile prisoners, including Americans, authorizing U.S. oil purchases, and even exploring reopening the American embassy in Caracas, closed since 2019. Trump spoke with Rodriguez by phone on the 14th of January, describing her as a terrific person and saying they were getting along very well. He's praised her pragmatism on economic reforms like opening Venezuela's oil sector to foreign investment. In contrast, Trump has downplayed Machado's viability, claiming earlier that the country hates her and lacks broad support for her leadership. He's shown no firm commitment to backing her as president, instead leaning towards Rodriguez as a stable interlocutor despite her past ties to Maduro and U.S. sanctions for alleged human rights abuses, which she denies. Well, photos from recent days capture the stark division. Machado in Washington, warmly greeted by senators like Ted Cruz, Dick Durbin, and Alex Padilla at the Capitol, waving to supporters outside the White House after a Trump meeting, embracing allies. Meanwhile, in Caracas, Rodriguez addressed the National Assembly flanked by regime figures like Diosdado Cabellos and Maduro's son, delivering a State of the Union speech calling for oil reforms and national unity, with military leaders in attendance, projecting continuity and control on the ground. Venezuela remains profoundly fractured, economically, shattered by years of hyperinflation, sanctions, and mismanagement. Politically unstable after the 2024 election fraud, claims, and now under partial U.S. influence, with Trump floating ideas of temporary American oversight or military presence to stabilize the transition. Machado's gesture appears as both thanks for Maduro's fall and a calculated bid to sway Trump amidst his apparent preference for Rodriguez's cooperation on trade, security, as well as energy. Rubinder Sachdev, international affairs expert, is joining us live. Rubinder, what do you make of this gesture by Machado?
Thank you, Uday. Amazing, as you said, amazing. I mean, this is the highest level, I would say, of opto-politics. That is, there is optics to it, there is a narrative to it, and a very smart narrative. And then there is underlying geopolitics. It's all and everything rolled together, packaged. A couple of things. Yes, it is known Trump is someone who loves flattery. Okay. He is someone who has been claiming for the peace accords or the peace deals that he has made that the world has not recognized him enough. And then what I find especially interesting in the narrative that, Machado says when she presents this gift to Donald Trump is of history. That, Lafayette presented it to Bolivar, a likeness of George Washington. And now the people of Bolivar or the people of the land of Bolivar are returning or are giving a gift to an heir of Washington, okay, as a gesture. This ties in hugely with the sense of history that Trump has. Trump likes to compare himself as one of the, strongest, bestest, most powerful, uniquest presidents in American history. He likes to compare himself or be known or seen as a bigger, better statesman than be it Ronald Reagan, be it George Washington, or Lincoln. So she has tied up the narrative very smartly, that's what I would say, by putting it in this context and in this language. Now, coming to the point that the moot point, that how much would it earn her or benefit her in terms of her own political career or her own aspirations. I do think, of course, it will, definitely. The point is, right now, Trump and, let's say, the remote viceroy of Venezuela, which is Marco Rubio, they do not see Machado as a strong enough operator. She has no experience of governance. She has, no abilities to work through the various labyrinthine departments of the Venezuelan government. Whereas the incumbent vice president, very much schooled and seeped into the Maduro school of thought, all of them, Rodriguez, she has been an oil minister. She has made deals. She has worked the systems.
Yes.
And she has the equations with the, with the defense minister and with the police minister, interior, right? Because that entire power structure still holds and still grips Venezuela. Machado would not be able to manage all those. So therefore, Trump is going with, Marcia, remote control as long as she obeys and does what America wants in terms of its diktat. They've already taken oil, already about 4 million barrels of the stored oil has been has been sent off towards the US via the islands in the Caribbean storage, etc. So getting that working relationship going is more of a paramount importance to Trump than, dropping or parachuting or helicoptering a Machado with totally unknown circumstances. So in that sense, it's a rational move. But what it does for Machado, it builds up her ability to be embedded in the system in future. There will be some elections, democratic elections, and she will very well be a
Yes.
candidate, and then she would reap the benefits of this relationship
But
with
what does
Trump.
this tell us about the US's strategy going forward in Venezuela? Is there a closening up of the administration to Machado? Could there be explicit political backing which could come her way from the US, or is there going to be a balancing act?
I think as of now, the US would very much keep Machado on the sidelines, on the back burner, to be brought forth as and when the occasion demands. As of now, the US is much more interested in having a stable Venezuela, which may, spew anti-American rhetoric for their domestic consumption and for
But
their
obviously,
opinion.
she's struck, at a point that everyone is seeing is Donald Trump's weakness. He obviously wants the Nobel Peace Prize, and he's got one, even though it's a dedicated one.
It's an amazing roundabout way. But see, Trump is a hard-nosed businessman or a hard-nosed practitioner also. So yes, she has cozied up with him. She's hit the sweet spot. So she will be there in a sweet spot, but not now. Because right now, the cold reality which he and Rubio are kind of orchestrating is that Venezuela should remain as it is. Okay, elections could come after 6 months maybe. So when it comes to some talk of elections, then Machado could go back and participate in the elections. But as of now, Trump wants a strong hand at the helm in Venezuela who is able to manage the internal dynamics, because, there are folks within the hardliners in Venezuela who are saying that Rodriguez, the interim president, that she's kowtowing to America, to the devil, right? Which she should not. So she is playing that role and she's managing it pretty well. That's one. And secondly, she is being the oil minister. She has negotiated several agreements on oil with the various oil companies which were there. And apparently all of them give her high marks for being a good technocrat and solving the problems.
All right, appreciate you joining us, Ravinder, with your perspective on this big story.